In this video, we're going to repurpose some thrift flips and make a really cool sign. We're going to work with some wood and make an awesome sled for a centerpiece. And we're going to take some clay and create some really cute prim bowl fillers. Get ready for some simple, easy holiday decor. So I've been wanting to do some clay mold stuff for Christmas, and I have this old Christmas tree IOD mold. I bought it a couple years ago and I haven't used it once, not once. So I really want to use it, and especially since I found this little chalkboard, little kids chalkboard here, and it just fits perfectly on that, and I'm just like, it's got to be. It's just meant to be. So I'm going to do that. But first thing, I was trying to think of a background that I wanted to use behind the tree. And I'm thinking I want to use music. I have some different sized music, and I think this one will fit perfect. I added a little cornstarch in the tree so that the clay wouldn't stick, and then I'm just going to take out little sections of the clay and work it a little bit, warm it up, and get it so that it's stretched out, and then just start pushing it down into the mold. Once I get it all filled in the way I like it, I'm just going to take my roller and a plastic bag, a baggie, and I'm just going to roll it so it's kind of all flat. So when I put it down, I don't have any bumps or anything, and it kind of pushes it down into the mold so that it gets all that detail in there. Now that my paper is a little bit dry, I'm going to take a little antique wax and just go around the edges. I just did very light. I dipped it in and then brushed off a lot of it, so it's just going to be a light distressing that I'm going to put on there. Now I'm going to paint this with my DWIL wood. Cardamom green is the color, and I am going to paint this where it is because it is so thin. I did not expect it to be so thin, but I want to get it painted before I put it down on the paper because I'm not going to be able to get the sides and stuff if I don't. So I'm going to try to get as much of it as I can done. I'm going to add a little glue to where my tree's going to be. I'm just going to guesstimate. Because my tree is so thin, I don't think I'll be able to flip it over and not break it all into pieces to put glue on the back. Just going to hopefully gently without breaking anything, slide it into place. Now I have dried it with the dryer just a little bit so that I can maneuver it, but it's not dry yet. All right, now that I have my tree on there and hopefully it's stuck down real good, I'm going to paint these edges with the green and then I'll distress it back. Okay, everything is dry, so now I'm just going to go around the edges and sand them, give them a little distress, and then I'll go over them with a little bit of this chalky finish antique wax to just give it an old aged look. I'm going to take a little bit of this antique rub and buff and I'm going to put it all over the top to bring out some of the details in the tree. As you can see here, I used antique wax and went over it after I put the green on, or the gold on, and that just gives it a more antiqued look. So I'm just going to do that all over the tree, and I wipe it back. You want to make sure that the tree is, or the clay is dry and that it sat like overnight so that you can push down and get some of that antique wax out. Basically, you want it down in the cracks and crevices and stuff like that. Once everything is dry, I'm going to take a little bit of homespun fabric, make a little bow to put on the top, and then trim down those tails just a little bit. I'm going to then add some holes into the corners to add a hanger for my little tree sign. And I drilled those out and then took some of my wire and fed it through and then just twisted it around, and that works really well. I'm also going to take a little metal star to finish it off and put it in the middle of my bow, and I think that makes it look very prim. I had somebody give me this great little sled. We make our own, but this one's a little bit longer, and I thought it was super cute, and I want to paint it up. I picked out on our property some tiny small birch trees and cut them down to size so that they would fit on the top. I thought that would look really cute with some greenery and some maybe even lights. It all depends. but I want to get this painted up first. So I picked out one of my favorites, Dixie Belle Chocolate. Thank goodness the lid was on. And we're gonna paint this all in the chocolate color and then probably distress back a little bit. All right, so now I've got this all painted and dried up. So I'm just going to take my sandpaper and I'm gonna scuff up the edges. Okay, and my usual, I'm gonna do a little antique wax on this. I think my brush is dried out a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm just going to get it on there, focusing on the edges the best that I can. When I wipe it back, it'll kind of move it around where I want it. Sanded, and just give it an older look, which is what I want. I don't want it to look brand new painted. So there, as you can see, it darkened up the edges where I sanded. Here's what it is before, and then here's what it is after. All right, so I screwed this in together, all these three little logs together. I drilled some holes in the bottom because I'm also going to wire this to my sled so that it will stay on there. So I have a little bit of floral wire, and I'm gonna go down through, maybe down through. One more time. Down through. There we go. Okay. So down through that one, I'm going to crisscross them and have this one go down through on this side. I've taken a piece of the garland that I picked up recently, or well, actually not recently, it was last year on clearance. And I just cut a couple of little strips off it, little sections. I got my wood wired down, and I'm going to just figure out how much of this wood I want showing, because I want to be able to see the birch wood that's on there. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want this. I think I like that. I don't want to cover it up too much. And I have my staple gun, and I'm just gonna staple it down. It's the easiest way to just kind of get it to stay. All right. It's like fluffing season around here. We're always fluffing our greenery. On our trees, on our swags, on our wreaths, whatever else we got going on. Okay, so there's that. And then if you can see any of your like screw holes and stuff, just take, just kind of fluff out your stuff and get it so it will cover it. I also have these picks. I would say probably I got these from Dollar Tree, but I liked the little pine cones that were on there and the little red greenery. So just going to cut it and maybe just kind of start poking it in spots here and there. I don't have a lot of red on this, but I have plenty from a wreath that I had, and I took the little red berries off, but you really don't need a lot. So I do have this burlap pull-a-bow. I can't remember where I got it. It might be the burlap is it the burlapfactory.com maybe? I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll have it down in the description box if I find it. But these are really fantastic. They come all packaged up just like this. And you take these two little ribbons and you just start pulling. And they just start making the bows for you. It makes it all for you. These are fantastic. Hopefully they still have them, because they are just such a really neat thing. And you just keep pulling, until you've got all your little bows. All right, so I think this is gonna fit really nicely right on here. And I think it won't take up too much of it, so it'll look really good. And I'm just gonna keep tucking these little in just a little bit so that they are a little closer to my little bow here. And I'm gonna just glue them in instead of trying to staple them in, because my staples I don't think are long enough. So we're just gonna do this for the sake of getting this project done. Okay, there's that one. And right. There. Just want it kind of centered as much as I possibly can. And I could always add more greenery or more berries or whatever I think I need. Then I'm just gonna add my pine cones just wherever I want them here to fill in these empty spaces. Go. We're going to use these gingerbread cookie cutters from Hobby Lobby and make the most irresistible little bowl fillers you've ever seen. So I thought it would be fun to create some bowl fillers or some even potpourri little things with these. I think would be great, you know, just to throw in there and just to kind of look Christmassy. So I have some Crayola air dry clay. I got this on a special on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure I shared it with everybody. This is a nice big tub of it, 5 pounds. This is gonna get a lot of these little gingerbread men made up. So I wanted to do some bowl fillers with the big one, and I'm gonna grubby them up and make them look kind of like grubby gingerbread. And so what I did was I just grabbed my clay. I'll do some here. and just worked on it just a little bit, just kind of warmed it up with my hands, because if it's cold, it just doesn't want to move very much. And then I just start with my thumbs, just start kind of stretching it out a little bit. And then I add more. I'll add a little bit more. Grabbed some freezer paper because I had it right handy. I have a gallon-sized Ziploc, or, you know, another piece of freezer paper would probably work great. My little roller, you could use a rolling pin. You could use a dowel, whatever you have handy. You could use your hand. Basically, I'm just flattening this out to the thickness that I want. And make sure it's going the right way. I'm just going to go off to the side a little bit. And that way I can do some littler ones or whatever on this side. I don't have to roll out another one. Now you could do a whole big piece so you don't have to keep rolling it out, but... And then just remove your cutter. And there is your gingerbread guy. Now, I don't really care for the little pointy feet that he has. So while he's still drying, just push up on those points to make them a little rounder. I don't know. It's not a big deal. It's just personal preference. But that's fairly thick. So that's going to take a while to dry, but I want it to be able to sit in a bowl and not, you know, and not crumble. So that's why I want it fairly thick. So there's that one. Now I have a baker's rack, a cookie rack right here, and I'm just going to put him on it. Make sure he's flat. And fill this all up, and then I'm going to put it by my wood stove. I'm assuming you could put this in the oven, but I don't know for sure. But it is air dry clay, so you just kind of let it air dry. But when I put it by my wood stove, it dries really good overnight. I flip it every few hours, and then I go to bed and just let it go, and they have dried well. So this is one that I did last night, and it's not fully dry. I can still kind of see it's not completely dry. I don't dare to do too much because I don't want to break it, but it's fairly thick. Like I said, it's going to take a little bit, but it's definitely dry enough for me to work with. I can paint this up, grubby it up, whatever I decide I want to do. I think I want to make this look like old black and beeswax, like I have with some of my jars and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I also have the little ones, the little itty bitties that I think would be great in a bowl of potpourri. And then the medium-sized one. Now this little bit of clay that's left over, I'm just going to take my little itty-bitty one, and so I don't waste it, just make some little guys. And then also put them on my little baker's rack here. These I find they don't come out the greatest, so I just poke them with something to get them to fall out. But these are the cutest little buggers. They're so stinking cute. I have a Whatnot show coming November 20th, so make sure you go down in the description box and find that link. Some of these cute little gingerbread guys will be in there for sale, along with many other handcrafted items. I also want to point out that now is a good time if you want to make these into ornaments. I have a little bit of black paint and one of each size and a paintbrush. And I just flipped them over to the back. The back is going to be just black on mine. Obviously, you can do whatever you want on yours. And I only do one coat. but I do try to get it all covered the best that I can. Try to get the excess off there. I don't want blobs. It takes a while to dry if you put too thick. As it dries, it does kind of show you some spots that you missed. But anyway, I'm just going to take my heat gun and dry this all off so that I can flip it over and do the front, which is where I'll put my grubby mix on while it's wet. Try to make sure I get it all covered. If I don't, it's okay. I can go back in. This is drying really quick. And this is why I paint and dry the back, because every time I touch it, it's just going to take paint off. So I try to do it that way. And then I take my little bucket of grubby mix and I just drop it in there. You can drop it in upside down, whatever you want. And then I just get them all covered. Shake it off a little bit, and then I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to spray one of my grubby gingerbread men with this clear matte spray. I like the matte. You could do the glossy if you want, but I think the matte gives it a little more of a prim look. Now I brushed off some of the cinnamon. You want to be careful in doing that. If you do, let me show you. Now this one I brushed off a little bit, and you can start to see the white. So as it comes off, it brushes off any of the stuck ones sometimes, and they will take the paint with them. So you want to re-dip if that happens, or spray it first, then brush off any loose ones. Okay, so I sprayed that, and we're going to let that dry and see what it looks like. I may want to dip it again. I feel like I want a little bit more. And now, since it's wet with my clear spray, I can do that. I'll just hold it over my little tub. We'll just give it another little sprinkle. There we go. And we'll let that dry, and we may want to seal it another, a second time to make sure all that sticks. I like that with a little bit more of the cinnamon on there, but we'll see how that works. My little gingerbread guy is all dry, guy or gal. And I'm just going to take a piece of homespun material. This is just my black and tan, one of my faves of fabric for prim stuff. There we go. Now you can dress him up more or less. Just have nothing on him. You could put a little star or a little heart, in the middle there if you wanted to. And then I'll show you how I'm going to style him up. All right, I'm just going to do a different color little tie here. Just the burgundy and, I don't know, white, I guess. And just some different homespun material just to give a little color and whimsy. You want it to be fun. These are supposed to be fun, and so I think those look so cute. I love it. Now I have this really pretty bowl, and I just added some greenery to it and a few little pine cones, and I just want to stick my little gingerbread guys in here so it looks like they're kind of lounging in a bowl like so. Oh my gosh, so cute. I love this look. I have some little tiny fairy lights that actually are available on my Etsy shop that I may just pop in here too. I think some little lights would look great in here. And again, I have some little pine cones just to give it some different colors. And I think this is so prim cute. right, wait, we're not finished. I have a little bit of pine greenery. We're just gonna pop in this potpourri just to give it a little green for Christmas or the holidays. And I'm gonna stick my little teeny tiny little gingerbread guys in here. Just set them up so they're nice and visible. And we have the cutest little potpourri box for your counter. You can even have it sitting up just a little bit so people can actually see in there. You could even take some of your big ones. Those are small enough so you could set them in there like so, just around the corners and such, to give them a little cute little look. And I just love these little gingerbread guys. I hope you enjoyed my repurposed and primitive projects today. Let me know down in the comments if you had a favorite and which one it was. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out this next video on your screen. I know you're gonna love it.